The sleepless guardian, the colony ship Endeavour, drifted through the cosmic void like a sleeping giant, its hull gleaming silver against the star-painted darkness. Inside its massive frame, 50,000 souls lay in perfect stasis, dreaming of the new world that awaited them at journey's end. But in the depths of the engineering section, one man remained awake, his footsteps echoing through empty corridors that should have bustled with life. Marcus Chen wiped sweat from his brow as he completed another routine maintenance check on the stasis pods in Sector 7. For 18 months, he had been the ship's only conscious guardian, ensuring that the sleeping colonists remained safe during their 100-year journey to New Eden. The responsibility weighed heavily on his shoulders. But someone had to stay awake, and Marcus had volunteered for the longest shift rotation in human history. The automated systems hummed their eternal song around him, a symphony of life support, navigation, and power distribution that had become as familiar as his own heartbeat. Marcus had learned to read the ship's moods through these sounds, detecting problems before they became critical. It was a skill that had saved countless lives during their journey through the unexplored regions of space. Aria, status report. Marcus called out to the ship's artificial intelligence as he sealed the access panel on stasis pod 7439. Inside, a young mother slept peacefully, her dreams filled with hopes for her unborn child's future on New Eden. All systems operating within normal parameters. Marcus, Aria's synthesized voice responded with the warmth programmed to keep him sane during the long isolation. However, I am detecting unusual energy readings from the Helix Nebula, bearing 2-7-Mark-4. The signatures are unlike anything in our databases. Marcus paused, his hand still resting on the sealed panel. In 18 months of travel, they had encountered plenty of cosmic phenomena, but Aria rarely described anything as unusual. The AI had been loaded with data from every deep space mission in human history, making her one of the most knowledgeable entities about the universe's mysteries. "Display the readings on my tablet," Marcus requested, pulling the device from his tool belt. The screen flickered to life, showing wave patterns that seemed to pulse with an almost organic rhythm. The energy signatures were definitely artificial, but their structure was alien to human understanding. Marcus studied the data as he made his way to the observation deck, a small chamber with reinforced windows that offered a direct view of space. The Helix Nebula stretched before them like a cosmic flower, its petals composed of ionized gas and stellar dust. But there was something else there, something that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. "Aria, how long until we pass through the nebula's outer edge?" he asked, unable to shake the feeling that they were being watched. "At current velocity, approximately 6 hours," Aria replied. "The nebula poses no danger to the ship or crew. However, the energy readings are intensifying as we approach." Marcus pressed his face against the cool window, straining to see beyond the swirling colors of the nebula. For a moment, he thought he glimpsed something massive moving within the cosmic clouds. But it could have been his imagination playing tricks on him after months of solitude. As he watched, the energy readings on his tablet began to change, forming patterns that seemed almost like communication attempts. The signals pulsed in mathematical sequences, prime numbers followed by geometric progressions that no natural phenomenon could produce. Someone or something was trying to make contact. "Aria, are you analyzing these patterns?" Marcus asked, his heart rate increasing despite himself. "Yes, Marcus. The signals appear to be deliberately structured, possibly representing an attempt at communication. However, They do not match any known alien communication protocols in our databases. Marcus made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Instead of following standard protocol and reporting the contact attempt to Earth, he chose to respond. Using the ship's communication array, he transmitted a simple mathematical response, confirming that the signals had been received and understood. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The entire nebula seemed to light up with activity, and the energy readings spiked beyond anything Arya had ever recorded. Suddenly, the Endeavour was no longer alone in the cosmic void. Multiple contacts detected, Arya announced, her voice carrying an unusual tone of excitement. I am reading at least 12 distinct energy signatures, all artificial in origin. Marcus, I believe we have made first contact with an alien civilization. Marcus felt a mixture of terror and exhilaration wash over him. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries, and it was happening on his watch, with 50,000 people depending on his decisions. The weight of responsibility was crushing, but he knew he could not turn away from this opportunity. The alien signals began to change, becoming more complex and urgent. Arya worked frantically to decode them, her processing power pushed to its limits as she attempted to understand the alien language. Slowly, patterns began to emerge, and a message started to take shape. They are asking us to follow them, Arya translated, her voice filled with wonder. The translation is incomplete, but they seem to be offering something called the gift of understanding. Marcus, I think they want to help us. Marcus stared at the swirling nebula, knowing that his next decision would change the course of human history. The colonists in stasis had trusted him to keep them safe, but they had also embarked on this journey to seek new possibilities among the stars. How could he deny them the greatest discovery in human history? Plot a course to follow their signals, Marcus commanded, his voice steady despite the magnitude of his decision. But maintain full shields and keep all weapon systems online. We go in cautiously. Acknowledged, Arya replied, adjusting course now. The Endeavour began to turn, its massive engines rotating to align with the alien signals. As they moved deeper into the nebula, Marcus watched the energy readings dance across his tablet, each pulse bringing them closer to the unknown. The sleeping colonists remained blissfully unaware that their destiny was about to change forever. As they penetrated deeper into the nebula's heart, space itself began to distort around them. Colors that had no names in human language painted the void, and the very fabric of reality seemed to bend and twist. Marcus felt a strange tingling sensation throughout his body, as if every atom in his being was being examined and catalogued by invisible forces. Marcus, I am detecting massive gravitational anomalies ahead, Arya warned. The space-time distortions are unlike anything in our theoretical models. We may be approaching some form of artificial wormhole or dimensional gateway. Marcus gripped the observation deck's railing as the ship began to vibrate with increasing intensity. Through the windows, he could see structures that defied description, geometric forms that seemed to exist in more dimensions than his mind could process. The alien signals were getting stronger, more insistent, as if urging them forward into the impossible realm beyond. Arya, if we proceed, will we be able to return to normal space? Marcus asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Unknown, Marcus. The physics involved are beyond current human understanding. However, the alien signals seem to be providing navigational data, suggesting they intend for us to be able to return. Marcus closed his eyes and thought of the sleeping colonists, each one trusting him to make the right choice. They had left Earth to find a new home among the stars, but perhaps they were meant to find something far greater. Taking a deep breath, he opened his eyes and faced the swirling gateway ahead. "Take us through, Arya. Whatever lies beyond, we face it together." The Endeavor plunged into the dimensional rift, and reality exploded around them in a cascade of impossible colors and sensations. Marcus felt his consciousness expand as they crossed the threshold into forbidden space, leaving the familiar universe behind and entering a realm where the laws of physics were mere suggestions. As the ship emerged on the other side, Marcus gasped at what he saw. Before them stretched a vast chamber that seemed to exist outside normal space-time, filled with structures of incredible beauty and complexity. And waiting for them, arranged in a perfect formation, were 12 ships of clearly alien design, their hulls gleaming with the same energy that had first caught Arya's attention. The first phase of humanity's greatest adventure was complete, but Marcus knew that the real test was just beginning. The forbidden realm, the Endeavor, hung suspended in a space that defied every law of physics Marcus had ever learned. Around them, the alien ships maintained their formation, their hulls pulsing with gentle light that seemed to communicate in rhythms. Beyond human understanding, the chamber they had entered stretched impossibly far in all directions, its boundaries lost in a soft, pearl-like luminescence that made Marcus feel as though he were floating inside a massive pearl. "Arya, are you still functional?" Marcus asked, noting that many of the ship's systems had gone offline during the transition. "Systems coming back online now, Marcus," Arya replied, though her voice carried a new quality, as if the artificial intelligence had been somehow enhanced by their passage through the dimensional gateway. "I am detecting incredible technological signatures throughout this space. The energy patterns suggest technology millions of years in advance of our own." Marcus made his way to the communications array, his hands trembling slightly as he prepared to make humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. As he activated the transmission systems, one of the alien ships began to approach, its movement so smooth and graceful that it seemed to dance through the strange space around them. "This is Marcus Chen of the Earth colony ship Endeavor," he broadcast on all frequencies. "We received your signals and followed them here. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and understanding." The response came not through the communication systems, but directly into Marcus's mind. The alien voice was ancient and weary, carrying the weight of eons within its mental touch. "Welcome, young wanderer. We are the keepers of the threshold, guardians of the passage between realms. We have waited countless cycles for one such as you to find us." Marcus staggered, nearly falling as the alien consciousness made contact with his mind. The experience was unlike anything he had ever imagined, as if his thoughts were being gently examined by an intelligence vast and benevolent. "Who are you?" Marcus asked aloud, knowing somehow that the alien could hear his thoughts. "What is this place?" "We are the last of the architects, the builders of gateways between dimensions. This realm exists at the intersection of all possible realities, a sanctuary where knowledge from across the universe is preserved. We have been dying for millennia, our race consumed by the weight of our own wisdom. But you, young human, you carry something we had thought lost forever." "What do I carry?" Marcus asked, though part of him already knew the answer. "Hope, curiosity, the willingness to sacrifice for others. These qualities have become rare in the universe, as most species either destroy themselves or become so advanced that they lose their connection to the simple truths that make existence meaningful. As The alien spoke. Marcus began to see images in his mind. Civilizations rising and falling across the galaxy. Species achieving incredible technological heights only to lose their souls in the process. The architects had tried to preserve the best of what each species had offered, but they had become guardians of a museum filled with the memories of the dead. We offer you a choice, Marcus Chen. We can enhance your ship with technology beyond your wildest dreams. Weapons that could make humanity the dominant force in the galaxy. Knowledge that would solve every problem your species faces. But such gifts come with a price. What price? Marcus asked, though he suspected the answer would not be pleasant. The price of wisdom is often the loss of wonder. The price of power is often the loss of compassion. Your species stands at a crossroads, just as ours once did. You can follow the path of advancement and risk losing what makes you human, or you can choose a different way. Marcus thought of the sleeping colonists, each one carrying dreams of a better future for their children and grandchildren. They had left Earth not because they sought power or dominance, but because they hoped to build something better among the stars. How could he make such a momentous decision for all of them? Show me the alternatives, Marcus said. I need to understand what you're offering. The alien consciousness guided his awareness through a series of visions. In one, he saw humanity spreading across the galaxy like a tide. Their advanced ships conquering world after world, their enhanced weapons subjugating alien races. It was a future of glory and empire, but also one devoid of the cooperation and wonder that had driven humanity to reach for the stars in the first place. In another vision, he saw a different path. Humanity growing slowly and carefully, learning from their mistakes, forming alliances with other species based on mutual respect rather than superiority. It was a harder path, filled with challenges and setbacks, but it preserved the essential human spirit that made them unique in the universe. The choice is yours, Marcus Chen. But know that whatever you decide will echo through eternity, shaping not just the future of your species, but the fate of all life in this galaxy. Marcus closed his eyes and reached out through the ship's communication system to the sleeping colonists. Though they could not wake from stasis, he could sense their dreams, their hopes for the future they were traveling toward. In those dreams, he found his answer. I choose the harder path, Marcus said firmly. Humanity needs to earn its place among the stars, not have it handed to us. We need to remain human, with all our flaws and limitations, because those imperfections are what drive us to be better. The alien consciousness seemed to pulse with something that might have been joy. You have chosen wisely, young guardian, though we cannot give you the gifts of ultimate power. We can offer you something far more valuable. We can give you the knowledge of how to find other species like yourselves, races that still possess the spark of wonder and the courage to grow. You need not face the darkness alone. As the alien spoke, Marcus felt information flowing into Aria's databases. Not weapons or technologies of destruction, but maps showing the locations of other young civilizations, communication protocols for making peaceful contact, and most importantly, the secret of how to recognize species that still possessed the essential spark of curiosity and compassion. Your ship will be enhanced, but not with weapons of war. You will travel faster and safer, your stasis systems will function more efficiently, and your sensors will be able to detect the signs of emerging civilizations across vast distances. But the most important gift we give you cannot be measured by any instrument. What gift is that? Marcus asked. The knowledge that you are not alone, that across the galaxy There are others like you, struggling to build something better despite the challenges they face. When you find them, you must do what we could not. You must build a community of species dedicated to growth rather than conquest, to cooperation rather than dominance. Marcus felt the weight of this responsibility, but also a sense of purpose greater than anything he had ever experienced. This was why he had been chosen to remain awake during the journey, why fate had led them to this encounter. Humanity was being entrusted with a mission that could reshape the galaxy. How do we return to normal space? Marcus asked. Our colonists need to reach New Eden to begin their new lives. Your destination has not changed, only your purpose. New Eden will become the first world in a new alliance, a gathering place for species who choose cooperation over conquest. The gateway home is open to you, but remember what you have learned here. The alien ships began to fade, their ancient hulls becoming translucent as the dying race prepared to pass into whatever realm awaited them beyond physical existence. Go. Now, Marcus Chen, carry our hopes with you, and remember that the greatest adventures are those undertaken not for glory, but for the betterment of all life. The Endeavour found itself back in normal space, the Helix Nebula swirling around them, with its usual cosmic beauty. But Marcus knew that everything had changed. The ship's systems hummed with new efficiency, the stasis pods functioned with perfect reliability, and the navigation computers contained star charts showing the locations of a dozen civilizations. Ready for peaceful contact. Arya, begin preparation for the colonists' awakening, Marcus commanded. They're going to want to know why our journey just became much more interesting. Acknowledged, Marcus. Shall I begin with the colony leaders? Yes, but first, record a message for Earth. They need to know that humanity is no longer alone in the universe and that our future among the stars will be built on friendship rather than conquest. As Marcus began composing his message to Earth, he smiled for the first time in months. The lonely vigil was over, replaced by a mission that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. The colonists would wake to find that their new world was not just a destination, but a beginning. The first step in building a community of species dedicated to the greatest human values of cooperation, curiosity, and hope. The forbidden space had tested humanity through its representative, and they had passed. Now the real work could begin, as 50,000 dreamers prepared to help build a galaxy where wonder and wisdom could coexist, where the spark of curiosity would light the way to a future brighter than any single species could achieve alone. Marcus looked out at the stars with new eyes, seeing not empty void, but potential allies, not conquest waiting to happen, but friendships waiting to be born. The mechanic who had stayed awake to guard his sleeping friends had become humanity's first ambassador to the galaxy, and the adventure was just beginning.